So I've just finished tying up a little holiday present for myself. I've been working on this for a while, but I finally filled this fully mill slim box with 261 of my favorite confidence nymphs. So if you've been following me for a while, you know that I'm big on confidence nymphs. All the flies that you see on my videos or that I write about on troutstrike.com are the same flies that I use when I'm out on the water. So if you stick around today, I'm going to show you what's inside this fly box and how it's organized. All of these flies are what I consider to be confidence flies. I recently published an article about confidence flies titled "Why My Confidence Flies Are Better Than Yours." So if you haven't been out onto the site, I encourage you to check it out. One of the things I talk about in that are categories. How do confidence flies become our confidence flies? Of course, my confidence flies are better than yours, but I point out in there that yours are also better than mine. It's because the process that we go through for flies to become confidence flies. So before I begin talking about the patterns, I want to talk about the organization of this box. With 261 flies, this is kind of my go-to box. This is the first box that I'm reaching for. I carry some other boxes that I'll talk about in a little bit and show you another way to organize, but this is my main box. So I want to make sure that I have all of my sizes in one place. So how I have that organized is I have my heavy flies up here in these top rows. These range anywhere from a 3.2 to a 3.0 bead. This row here of pink is all a 3.0. Everything above that is a 3.2. So these are my heavier beads. In the middle, these are my 2.8 millimeter beads. So this would be kind of my medium weight flies that I would use. And then the last few rows, as you can see, are my 2.4s, 2.4 millimeters. So we've go heavy, middle, and lightweight. The other way that I kind of organize that, I like to try to really pack as light as I can. So I like these small boxes. So the other way that I do that, I keep it organized is I do one box like this. This is all heavy. Then I do another one, a separate one that would just be medium flies, and then a third one that I would just have as my light. So that is another way to do it. I do like that, although sometimes I'm fumbling around looking for one of those three and never seem to pick the right one. What I like about this is I've got everything in one place, and I know my top rows for higher water when I want to get deep. These are generally going to be fished on the point, or if I'm fishing just a single fly, I'm a lot of times going to be pulling from these rows up here. If I'm going to be fishing in a tandem, likely my tag fly is going to be one of these lighter flies. One of the middle flies or the heavier flies likely going to be at the point. So again, I like to have that versatility and that ease on the water of finding what I need. The first category, and I'm going to focus here on that row of Walt's worms, these pink beaded Walt's worms. This is what I would consider to be just an old, reliable pheasant tails, hare's ears. These are flies that I don't necessarily have a particular story to tell. They are just flies that have stood the test of time, and I know that they work. They're often the first flies that I will reach for in my box if I'm on a new river as a searching pattern. So this box is filled with old reliables. So my next category of confidence flies that I wrote about are what I call flies with a story to tell. And right here is your thread Frenchie. And that is what I consider to be one of the flies that has become a confidence fly for me because it has a specific story to tell. First of all, the thread Frenchie was probably the first Euro style nymph that I mastered at the vise. I can remember several days when I first started learning how to tightline. There were a lot of frustrating days, but my first real successful day was using a thread Frenchie. And I can remember just catching fish after fish after fish on it. And I've had many days like that since that time. Some other flies that I put in that category here are, if you look at this black fly right here, this is the SOS, or Higgins SOS rather. I've had days in the spring when they're focused on beta nymphs, where that fly has just produced for me all day. Egan's Frenchie. That's just a variation of a lot of people would probably consider that one an old reliable, but I have very specific days on the river where I know sunnier days usually, because of its reflective qualities, that I just remember that fly working particularly well. The olive flash perdigon is another one that I consider a fly that has a story to tell. So those are my two main categories that I think this box is probably filled the most with, either flies that I just know from experience will work, or flies that I've had particular success and can remember a specific time. The third one that I would have are what I call my wannabe confidence flies. My best example of a wannabe is a pretty new fly to me, and this is Rose's Dark Neon. I just put out a video of that not too long ago. This is a tag fly. It's very similar to Devin Olson's blowtorch. So I would say this about tag flies in general. Um, they're wannabe confidence flies for me because I haven't yet had that experience. I'm not saying I have never caught fish. I have. I just haven't had that experience, but I'm relying on the experience of other anglers. I know this is an effective pattern based on the experience of other anglers. Another fly in that wannabe category would be this one right here. This is a Duracell Jig. I got a video coming out on the Duracell Jig pretty soon. I have a short out, but I'm going to put the full length video out on that one. This is a fly that, again, I just know from other anglers works. I have not had the personal experience as I have with some of the other flies that I've talked about, so it's in my wannabe category. The cool thing about this is that some of these flies can go from being a wannabe to a fly with a story to tell. So I try to include flies in here that aren't necessarily experimental. These are flies that I know I'm going to have confidence in when I'm out on the water. All right, before the last segment, I do want to remind you that there are video tutorials on just about all of these patterns. I'm including those in the description below, so make sure to check out the description. I'm leaving links to all of the articles that I've mentioned, plus all of the videos. Now, there are some videos that you may not find. For example, you may not find a specific video on the mustard colored waltz worm, but I have a video on the waltz worm. So if you can tie the regular waltz worm, you can certainly tie the mustard colored waltz worm. Don't get overwhelmed by all of the flies that you see here. Really, they are just variations. Once you understand conceptually how to tie some of these patterns, you can tie anything that's in this box. So make sure to check out some of the videos that I have. Those are going to teach you the concepts of some of these patterns, and then you're going to be able to take those and put your own twist on them. Also, I want to encourage you to check out the YouTube channel, check out troutstrike.com. I write about all kinds of things, more than just flies, my fishing experiences, there's stories, there's tips, there's techniques, there's video posts, all kind of great stuff out there. So check out troutstrike.com. You want to use some of the same patterns, but you want to have them in multiple sizes. So I'll point out the mustard waltz again. You're going to see that here in the medium size, and then here it is again in the small size. Now, I don't have a large size version of that or a heavy size, but you can see I have two different heavy versions of another waltz. So again, just a variation. The thread Frenchie I mentioned, I've got that here as a large, and then again as a medium. What's interesting is some of the flies are, not only do I have a confidence in the pattern, but for some of these flies, I'm very specific about the size. For example, Rainbow Warriors, one of my confidence flies for sure, one of my flies with a story to tell, but only in this size. I fished it larger than that, and I haven't done as well with it. It seems to be a fly that I do really well, but it's got to be on the smaller side. Same thing with a few other patterns. For example, this is a simple stupid. If you follow Old Dominion Trout Bum, Corey Kaju, he ties this up. It's just a simple pheasant tail with bleached pheasant tail. I've had a lot of luck on this pattern, but only in a smaller size. I've tied it in the bigger sizes. It does okay. I do better on it in an 18 with a 2.4 bead. So sometimes just the size of a particular fly, or even the hook shape of a certain fly, will give me confidence in it. My last row here, that's just a bunch of different zebra midge variations. I've got some here with the tag. If I feel like the water is cloudy or anything like that, and I want to give it a little bit more visibility, I've got just your plain ones, and then I've got some with a little CDC. Well, I want to thank you for tuning in today and wish you a happy holidays and a happy new year. Hopefully, we start to get some warmer weather and make it a little easier to get out there on the water. I'm hoping to get out this week while I have a little bit of time off, and I'm certainly excited to play with some of my new toys here from the holiday gift that I've given myself. So now you understand the title, hopefully. My confidence flies. They work for me, and I want you to get out there, shape your own experiences so that your confidence flies work for you. So again, I'm Jeff Smecker from troutstrike.com. I really, really appreciate you tuning in. Have a great holiday. Now step away from your vise and get out on the water.